Welcome to Required Taste Podcast. We are back. It's your boy Tech Daddy. DJ's dead. I'm taking his stuff. If you do follow us on social media, you probably noticed that that DJ's been sick. Therefore, we have missed a week episode. Our bad on that. But yeah, we're not back. We're back now. Well, he's not, and neither is B because she had a family emergency. So I enlisted the help of Ben to come on this episode.
We're back, blacker and whiter
than ever. Than ever before. It's actually funny that you mentioned that because there is a contrast here.
We got a whole yin yang thing going here.
I mean, because you are the gingery white.
Very.
So like that's like you can't see sun white.
Very.
And I love the sunlight. You know, the melanin is.
I like the sun. I don't absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a white, I don't know. White paint.
Okay.
Like a thick coat of white paint.
Yes, the eggshell. For those in the know. Anyways, we are back. Sorry about the delay. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. We talk about history and some mystery and other random things. And if you are returning, welcome back. We've missed you. Thank you for sticking with us. And Happy New Year if this is your first episode of the year. But like I said before, we're back. It's me. It's Ben. No John this time either because John's at Army. Mm-hmm. Literally, we are the B team today.
I came here. I seized the opportunity for them to not be here because I had things to say. One of which is John. He's a Russian plant. It's safe to say it now. He's not here.
Fair enough.
Second, DJ's tattoos are all fake and he's wearing a wire. If you know where he is, find him.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, as always, we like to start off with like, a little question or a icebreaker, if you will. And we just started talking about coffee out of nowhere, making a joke about something completely different. And but we agree on this one, which I'm not surprised by. But what are you, man? A Starbucks or a Dunkin' guy?
Dunkin'. Hands down.
Okay.
Hands down.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%, man. Like Dunkin' Donuts, I feel like Dunkin' Donuts is the coffee for the working person.
It is.
But
also if you go to Starbucks, you need to give your college thesis to put your order in. It's annoying.
Yeah. Aren't like the words not even meaning what they're supposed to mean? Like you have to order it's not a large or a medium. It's like a venti or some other bullshit.
And it's that thing that Paul Rudd, I think, made fun of. In the one movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie, but I've seen clips of it.
I always see that on Facebook videos.
Yeah,
real.
Mm-hmm.
This means large. This means large. Venti's the only one that doesn't mean it.
Yeah, I've never been a big star. I don't know what it is, but the coffee beans always smelled weird to me.
They know I don't belong there when I walk in. Like they know. They know. I feel like DJ does when he walks into a respectable establishment.
He never walks into a respectable establishment.
Exactly. He knows to stay out.
You know what? I don't think I've ever been with him in a respectable establishment. No, I mean, I guess it depends on the level of respectability we're referring to here. We've been in some nice places before, but never like a church or some shit.
Wow. Have you been to like a 6? That's about where I could see DJ going, like a 6. You're a well-kept Chuck E. Cheese, that level of respectable establishment.
We've been to a nice steakhouse before.
Which steakhouse?
I think, we've never been to Wildfire together. We went to a really nice Italian restaurant before, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, he's in on that.
Well, he is half Italian.
That's a racket, so,
Yeah, that's true. Everybody did speak Italian when we went there. That was wild. They gave us the whole 4 courses, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the 4, like, we ended with coffee. One of those, like coffee and cake.
Espresso? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, espresso, okay. Yeah. It was real nice. We were definitely underdressed. We were extreme. It was me, him, and Charlie. Like
that's how. Oh my god. That's how it was with me and my friends when we went to Indy for my buddy Matt's bachelor party. Mm-hmm. And we went to Elmo's Steakhouse.
I've been there, yeah.
Not understanding what that place was. Mm-hmm. Dressed exactly as I am now. Mm-hmm. And it took 15 minutes for us to figure out all the waiters are in tuxedos.
Yeah.
I think we're in the wrong place, boys.
Was it at least delicious?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Okay, yeah, I've been there. It was nice.
They were so glad when we left.
Yeah, again, that's how it was. Like again, me, Charlie, DJ, man. Like I was in a cutoff shirt and like shorts to give you a and like I said, this place opened by a world famous, world renowned gelato maker apparently. And we're in Philly. It's a beautiful restaurant. Everybody's dressed to the nines. Everybody spoke Italian there. Like I'm pretty sure everybody that employed there was from Italy. Like legitimately Italian people. Like it was a whole experience. It was wonderful. I had a wonderful dining experience. But yeah, we were fascinated. We brought the property value down by sitting in there.
See, and I got a bone to pick with that. Is gelato not the most disgusting word? I'm sorry. That is, every time I hear gelato, I do not think something edible.
Okay, because it's like it reminds me of the word, of course, Jello, which we Jello, but
sure,
but like
it makes me think gelatin, and then I start going like Kevin, 7 layers of Kevin Bacon style, all the way back to like Slim Fast commercials with Rosie O'Donnell's ass.
Oh, dude.
That's where gelato takes me.
You could have kept that one to yourself. You really could have kept that one to yourself, buddy. No. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. But yeah, it's always funny when you're in an establishment that you just know good and damn well you don't belong in, but you stay.
Oh yeah.
But you stay. So make a point.
I'm a regular at one of them. I still don't think I belong at the alley.
You know what's funny? I think we're like getting to the age of too old for the alley. Like I'm looking at people there. I'm like, there's no way they're 21. Like, oh, they're.
I saw one with braces the other day.
I mean, I didn't have braces in high school, but I didn't have them as an adult. That's fair. I mean, adults with braces isn't really that uncommon, I suppose.
I feel like once you're in your 20s. I mean, unless you just came into money all of a sudden.
They are fucking expensive.
Then I get it.
Shout out to my parents for affording them shits because my teeth were jacked up. Had them for 8 years. It was not good times. Dude, yeah, braces, glasses, skinnier than fuck with a big ass head. I was not an attractive child. You ruined that one.
I was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan art.
Pretty much, yeah. If you imagine like the me with the Horace Grant goggles when I played basketball too. Oh yeah.
You would make a strong Donatello.
Oh, and a mouth guard too, because I had braces. I didn't want to cut my lip if I hit in the mouth.
Dude, so that sucked.
Yeah, it gets stuck in there, man.
That happened a few times.
Oh yeah, so if you could put all those things together and then factor in the social awkwardness that I had, you have. Oh,
I was so bad in high school.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah. So just
I know people that you went to high school with. They told me
I didn't exist until like 3 p.m.
That's
essentially
about right.
Because I still had the same 4 friends from elementary school, in addition to all of you.
Sure.
And I still got those same, or I'm sorry, 3. I was counting myself, but and yeah, so high school didn't matter until the bell rang, and then I went and did something with those friends. Then life began.
I get that.
And then the high school thing was never.
Oh, I hated high school.
Yeah, I was so glad when it was over.
Oh, me too, dude. Dude, all right, I'll give you an example. So, you know how you said you're awkward in high school? I can almost beat that only because I went to a smaller high school than you. And like my graduating class was like 167 people, something like that. Okay. Was it my graduating class? I was so awkward and unpopular that I forgot to invite me to the reunion.
Oh, no shit.
Dead serious, dude. The irony of it all, like looking at me now, like having,
I wish they forgot to invite me to the reunion. I still didn't go.
I didn't go either. They ended up inviting. I ran into somebody I went to high school with when I was working one day. This is a long time ago now because that was almost my 20 year. This is the 10 year. I ran into somebody at work that I went to school with. We were just chopping it up about whatever, And he was like, "Oh, we're coming up soon." I'm like, "Huh." Didn't know. Did not know. Yeah, the irony of me now versus like
same.
I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm pretty decently well known in the area.
Absolutely.
And coming from that to that, like it's hilarious. The only thing is I weaponized my awkwardness. That's the only thing. They just don't. I weaponized it. They weren't ready for it.
No, you just steer into the skid.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Same thing I did. But my thing was going to work.
Okay.
Yeah, like getting your first big boy job. That's what really forced me to not fit in. I've never done that. But but get in there, get your voice heard.
Sure.
Develop your personality. what's left to develop, all that kind of stuff. Work was what did it for me.
No kidding. Yeah, mine was college.
Yeah. I mean,
where I was actually allowed to be myself and people liked it. I'm like, huh, this is weird.
A lot of similarities there between the two.
Yeah, at least got paid for it. Yeah. I owe them money.
Yeah, this is true.
A lot of it, actually. Still knows. Anyways, to get on track of what we got going on today. So, like I said before, we're behind a week, obviously. We appreciate your patience. Like I said, we're down a few people due to a lot of different factors. So this week, Ben was kind enough to come out, fill in. We're going to be recording, I think, 2 more episodes next week, so we'll be ahead. So you won't be without us for more than a few days. You're welcome. Anywho, so Ben, man, you picked the topic for today. You want to lead us into it?
Sure. I picked this just wild brain of a human being named Edward Bernays, and famous advertiser of the early 20th century. Advertiser being, what would you call it? The least descriptive term you can use for him, I guess.
Yeah, that after reading into this guy, him being in advertisement is such an understatement to what he actually is.
Absolutely, and he affected. This is a man that us being born in the 80s affected our breakfasts and many other things, but our breakfasts all the way from the 19 teens and everything. And that's how I would summarize him for at least an intro.
Yeah, that's definitely true, because I didn't really know much about this until you brought up the name. I'm like, okay, let me do a little dive and do a little digging.
I always pick an odd one.
Well, I'm happy you did. I mean, that's the point of the podcast, is to bring light to things that are not normally discussed or known. But yeah, man, this dude.
I don't know how I feel about him. That's the other thing. We'll get into it, but I don't know how I feel about him.
Well, I understand why you say that, and our listeners will understand why as well here soon. Because yeah, you're right. He's definitely polarizing, because it's not his fault.
But it is. I think we found an actual example of an amoral person.
Okay.
Honest to God.
Sure.
Or at least a working example.
Sure. So, like you said before, he's known for advertising. Some would say he's the father of public relations, due to how he essentially just mastered the idea of making advertising what it is today. I mean, it's because of him that we have modern advertisements that we do now, that target, that warp, that can do whatever to people's minds to make them believe it's a product. So starting off with, like, going back, so of course his beginnings, he's from Austria.
Yep.
So I'm okay. He's Austria, pre-World War I. I'm like, because I always get trepidation when I hear Austria, like, as an origin story for anybody. Right. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. Yeah,
1891.
1891. So I'm like, okay, he's okay, because he left.
Yeah.
He did. He moved to New York.
He did
when he was young. He was a kid still. And then when I found out he was Jewish, I'm like, oh, he got out of there way. He obviously, there was nothing going on at that point. For one of the few times in history the Jewish people weren't being persecuted, he left before it happened again, though.
Right. At least widely.
So he moves to New York with his family. Obviously, he was a kid, so he didn't have much of a choice. His family, though, is pretty interesting. So obviously, we're going to be talking about more of the psychology behind what he did, but his uncle was Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud, his double uncle.
And
both of us were too scared and trepidatious.
Trepidatious is the word I'd use.
To dig into what the fuck a double uncle is.
A double uncle actually is. Yeah. There's.
I'm not gonna lie. It sounds something on like something you give to somebody, like a wet willy. That's what a double uncle. That's what it sounds like to me, and I feel like Chris Hansen has a hand in that term.
Oh, easily. Like there's like somebody's tape's been touched. So like it's not good. it's not good.
So since we're bringing up Sigmund Freud, I told you I wanted to tell you the one thing. So have you ever tried to talk to anybody about Sigmund Freud?
Not other than you know.
Okay. So there was this one time, long time ago. What the hell? I made a joke about an Oedipus complex.
Sure.
So, okay. And so somebody didn't know what that was. So I made the comment.
Okay.
You know, blah, blah, blah. Freud, this, and the other.
There's this dude named Oedipus.
Yeah.
He's on a boat.
Exactly. And, you know, this, 4 hours later.
Fuck.
And it's from Sigmund Freud, the father of modern psychology or psychiatry. I always get him flipped.
I think it's psychiatry.
Okay. And everything. And the guy just looks at me dead in the eye. This is at my old job. Dead in the eye. And, was that the guys with the tigers? And I go, You know, that's Siegfried and Roy, not Sigmund Freud. And then
it is psychiatry, by the way.
Okay. And then at actually the job I'm at currently.
Psychology? Psychologies.
It's like
I'm sorry, dude. I'm reading this shit. Yeah, psychology is my famous figure.
Sigmund Freud, group psychology, and the analysis.
Psychology, yeah. My bad. Anyways, carry on. I'm sorry.
And then at this job, it's happened 3 times in the last 4 months.
What the fuck do you do at work all day?
Where I've brought up Sigmund Freud for whatever reason. Oh, Freudian slip. That's what. That's
okay. Fair enough.
That's why I would say it, and then I would explain Sigmund Freud, and again. 3 more times, guys with the tigers. This is what our educational system has done to us.
I blame the Department of Education.
So do I. We need to abolish it. But anyway.
I agree with that 100%. Anyways.
So I have some...
But going back to what the fuck do you do at work if you have time to discuss Sigmund Freud?
I can walk and talk.
Sure, dude.
Hey, people come and see me.
Yeah, you're a manager.
Exactly, and I give them what they need, and I give them a little extra, and that's my factoid of the day.
Fucking hell, man. I'm glad I work at home alone. Like,
it still happens on the phone.
That's why I don't call you.
I don't need to call you. You know these things.
Well, that's true, but still, it's not the point, though. Just get nothing done all day.
Oh, no, I still get stuff done, and I make people smarter for about 5 minutes, and they forget about it. And
welcome to Required Taste Podcast. All right, carry on.
Yeah, so Edward Bernays basically helped coined, however you want to look at it. I found differing accounts, but the term public relations.
Okay.
As a reboot of the word propaganda.
Yeah, because you really can't. Propaganda has always been such a bad term, especially after the Cold War, like going after his life. But propaganda, we always kind of associate with communist propaganda, or even before that, Nazi propaganda, or it's always coined to be associated with something bad.
Absolutely, and it was, and part of that came from the fact that Goebbels was one of Bernays' readers.
Of course he fucking was.
Were you not aware of this?
I did not know that at all, but that makes a lot of sense.
The Nazis are actually one of the few people Bernays turned down for work.
He was Jewish.
Well, hey, you have to remember, they kept some of them alive.
Well, they didn't have a choice. They wanted rockets.
And this is all pre-Poland as well. So they weren't killing people just yet.
Okay, yeah.
But still the writing was on the wall with those fucks. But
true, yeah, because that was a whole other story. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he still turned them down. But Goebbels was, I'm sure there were others, but Goebbels was the big reader of crystallizing public relations.
You're referring to his book, Crystallizing Public Opinion.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he wrote that in 1923. Yes.
Yeah. So he was a big reader of that, and but basically Bernays, he worked. His work started with the Committee for Public Information during World War II.
Okay.
Ironically, did I say World War II?
Yeah,
I'm not World War One. It was World War One. Ironically, that ties him to another one of our favorite bastards.
Okay.
Woodrow motherfucking Wilson.
That son of a bitch.
Wilson!
If just for clarity about the whole Woodrow Wilson thing, if you are new to the podcast or if you missed a few episodes in the past, go back, listen to our Woodrow Wilson episode. I think that was the first one we did together.
The first for the four of us.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to go back, listen to it. It's about 2 hours. It was a little bit unorganized because it was the first one we did together.
It's rough.
But you know what? You're going to hear some shit. And you will also think that Woodrow Wilson is a bastard.
Some shit you need to hear.
Unless you yourself are a bastard, then you're going to think he's a bastard.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, go back, listen to that.
They're not listening to this podcast. The bastards, I mean.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Our listeners are cool.
Damn right. So yeah, he worked under Woodrow Wilson, and he was one of the ones that actually helped coin the whole democracy in Europe thing and everything, which that would have been honestly an awesome tie-in to know a year or two ago when we did that episode. But yeah, so going through the CPI, Committee of Public Information, going through the CPI, he found, and if I forget if it was an autobiography or a biography, but he himself was the one to realize that all these methods that they were using to censor anti-war propaganda, and promote pro-war propaganda and everything else that was going into the war effort, and this was full-on censorship. It was a committee of censorship. He realized that these same practices could be put into peacetime for, reason A, reason B, reason C, whatever. And that's what kind of started him in the advertising world. Really condensing his life there between wars. But
yeah, so, and actually one of my favorite things, I just want to add on to a part of that. So what he was doing during World War One, was, like you said, he was hired by eventually during that he was hired by the U.S. War Department. So what his job is actually to figure out how to get jobs to hire war veterans after World War One was over with, which actually is a pretty noble task. I definitely say that, because again, like, that's why this guy is such a fine line. Like,
he does one thing and then it negates, does another thing and it negates. You accomplished nothing. He finished with a 0. He golfed a perfect and whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah. He definitely made par. So yeah, it's because like I said, he's trying to get business to hire war veterans, which obviously did work. So even those that were disabled from World War One were able to find work because of some of the things that he was putting in place. But also, he then, on the same token, brought up the dangers of women in the workplace.
Yeah.
So, and granted, what they ended up putting into place, I appreciate some of it because the whole hairnet thing came out of this.
Okay. See, I know a little about this one. This is the one I kind of sidestepped.
I gotcha. So what ended up happening was he was talking about the dangers of women in the workplace because obviously while the men were at war, the women were working in the factories and all that good stuff.
Of course.
Well, he brought up the dangers not because of women being women, like an ass would. He brought up dude, they have really long hair and they're wearing them really loose. They can get caught in machinery and die.
This is true.
Which is true.
This is true.
So because of that, he actually several states end up in putting in place that women have to wear hairnets in the workplace.
Oh, okay.
That was him.
And not for food reasons, just for safety reasons.
Just for safety reasons. But again, I don't like hair in my food, so appreciate that.
Yeah, no. I'm just surprised it went past food.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, it was food and then in factories as well because, again, the machinery. I mean, it's the 19.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, been
early 19, 1914 to 18. Which is terrible factory conditions.
Oh, those machines are still running.
Yeah, they probably are.
Somebody has them. We had a lathe that was off of a battleship from World War II at my old place.
Huh.
Oh yeah, that stuff's still around.
Well, I guess somebody probably still used it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, shit was made to last. So
absolutely.
Here we are.
Yeah, and they took the lathe off a battleship and it went from however many places and ended up in our shop.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that stuff is still there, and those dangers are still there.
That's fine.
The guy running it was bald though, so.
All right. Yeah, there you go.
So speaking of Wilson, just as an example, Woodrow Wilson, just as an example of how long this guy's effect on us has been. In 1924, Bernays set up a vaudeville, quote unquote, pancake breakfast for Calvin Coolidge to change his, quote, stuffy image prior to the 1924 election.
Okay.
Few entertainers, this, that, and the other, brought newspapers in. New York Times ran a story on it, this, that, and the other. That pancake breakfast is still happening today.
Yep.
By the president to this day. So it's this. Yeah, this is a long string of things that go back to one individual. And Calvin Coolidge won. But then I find funny to me personally. One of the guy's few losses was Herbert Hoover.
Okay.
So it took the Great Depression for Bernays not to get his way.
That's impressive.
Yeah, like it's because that was the election that got FDR in.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it took 1 in 4 people being unemployed for we're not listening to this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for his stuff that's how bad it had to get as a metric at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I thought it was interesting. There was something else political I was going to mention.
Well, I know that there was a joke. I think it was about Coolidge that because of the pancake party, they said that was closest they ever saw Coolidge to laughing. Or something like that.
Probably.
Because he was, like you said, he was perceived as so stuffy.
Yeah.
But he actually had so much fun, he actually almost laughed, apparently, at this thing.
I think he barely ever spoke.
That's about right.
Yeah, and you know what bothers me? He looks like Marty McFly's dad.
Oh, God.
He does. Like Coolidge, I've always thought that about Coolidge. And I'm probably the only 37-year-old to have an opinion on Calvin Coolidge. But
honestly,
Calvin Coolidge was here at Wicker Park.
What?
Actually, yeah, way back when.
Obviously,
on the campaign trail.
Okay.
Not as a president, I don't think.
Okay.
And when they dedicated something in Wicker Park. I remember seeing a newspaper clipping a long time ago. Calvin Coolidge was here.
You probably know the most about Calvin Coolidge of any 37-year-old in the country, so that's cool.
I just ran through all of it.
Fair enough.
Sign me up for Jeopardy. I could have sworn I had another political thing. I wonder if I erased it. But anywho, yeah. So I don't know what way I want to slice this, but I kind of want to talk about Freud before we talk about Bernays.
Sure.
At least completely. Freud, I just have some interesting quotes here from Freud and concerning the fact that Bernays is.
By the way, so I did find out about what you're talking about. I think he actually was president when this happened.
Oh, really?
So Wicker Memorial Park was actually dedicated in 1927 by President Calvin Coolidge.
Oh, no shit. Oh, cool.
Yep.
Cool. At least I knew I'm not making it up.
No, you're good.
For some reason, I thought it was earlier, but split.
And apparently that was part of Hammond back then.
Really?
Yeah, it says that in Hammond, Indiana.
Or maybe they just didn't know better. Whose paper is it?
This is just coming off of the Library of Congress.
Oh, well, I mean,
so
they probably don't know any better. But
I mean, it is a government entity. They probably don't know any better.
Exactly.
Man.
But so Bernays' expertise was not in getting you or I to buy something. It was getting you, I, John, and DJ to buy something as a group, to agree to change our minds or convince us of something.
Sure.
And as a result, I couldn't leave these little Freud quotes out because I think they're really important, especially because he was using his uncle's research to fulfill all this. And Freud, all the way back when identified, and I quote, "A group is extraordinarily credulous and open to influence. It has no critical faculty." Separate quote, "Concerned with the individual man as a member of a race, of a nation, of a castle, of a profession, of an institution, or as a component, part of a crowd of people who have been organized into a group of some particular time for some definite purpose." So basically, I mean, it's shit we already know, but I don't know. To me, it's kind of different hearing Freud put it, where it's like the mob is a monster.
Oh yeah.
And this is the guy that's feeding it. Plain and simple. And this is why I say like it's kind of amoral. There's no necessary wrong in what he's doing, but for instance, the absolute insanely intelligent or insanely clever, I guess I really want to say, between how he read the land or the lay of the land, and then his uncle's interpretations of psychology. He got women to smoke. He got an entire gender to smoke.
Well, yeah, because they made cigarettes sexy.
Yes.
They gave cigarettes sex appeal,
and
which was
fashionable.
And fashionable
And
too.
fashionable.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And because did you read the thing about the color?
I did not actually.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Because that's far more interesting, and that's the first step to it.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So Lucky Strikes back in the day was
Lucky
green.
Strikes says fine tobacco.
Yeah, they were green, and honestly, they were like they looked like a pack of Cools or Newports or any of that. You know, where white on top, green on the bottom.
Yeah, sure.
At least the pictures I was being shown in reference to, you know.
Well, because their label hasn't changed since then, since they changed it that time.
I thought it was, I thought it was white and red now.
It is white and red now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, that's the thing. They didn't change it yet. Not for this.
Oh, okay.
No, Lucky Strike went back to Bernays and said it's too expensive for us to change our color. We can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So this madman, he orchestrated a Winter Green Gala or Green Gala? It was Green Gala.
Okay.
And basically a party and get together in, I believe it was New York City, but where everything was green. This man literally made green fashionable for women because there were not many green fabrics being used in clothing at the time. It wasn't something people wore.
It was probably like white, red, and black.
Right. And women stayed away from it.
Sure.
Almost as a rule. And then the celebrities, the debutantes, not celebrities, you call them socialites back then. And they showed up wearing green. They made green fashionable. He made green fashionable. And he was able to sell Lucky Strikes to women because of the green packaging, among other things. Keeping appetite down, thinness, all these other things.
Yeah.
So he got an entire half more of a country to smoke by changing the opinion people had on a color. That's the power we're talking about.
That's
not
ridiculous.
the fact that he got them to smoke. That's honestly less impressive to me.
I knew about that part. I didn't know about the other part.
Yeah, like that, and that stuff is just it's not as, like I said, it's not as clever or devious. It's the fact that you got people who change their opinion on a color. You got to see it in a favorable light because of, so again, socialites, debutantes, blah, 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 blah. All
the people that matter.
Nonsense. Yes.
So yeah, the same thing that we do now.
Exactly. And there were more steps after where the color was one part of it. It was in my opinion, maybe the biggest part. It was the biggest domino to fall. Let's put it that way. And then beyond that, he got more debutantes during, it was some sort of march, I forget it off the top of my head, to light up for photos during women's suffrage demonstrations.
Yes.
Yeah, and everything. And then that was kind of the final domino, and a few things in between and everything.
Sure.
But I cannot get over the color aspect. That blows my mind.
That's
what he did to just literally change perception. And it blows my mind because of when it happened more than anything else. Like, this man essentially did what social media tries to do with his version of a rock versus our Lamborghini in our pocket here.
I mean, if you think about it, and actually going back to the color green again, oddly enough, because when I was reading about Bernays, it actually reminded me a lot of the Apple marketing. How Apple markets itself. And I remember I was watching, Facebook Reels, laying in bed, trying to go to sleep unsuccessfully because I'm watching doom scrolling at this point through all these fucking reels.
It's digital heroin.
It is, and that's unfortunate. But so what I noticed is there was, and this has always been a thing, because I think you have a Google phone, right?
Yeah, I got a Pixel.
Yeah, so you have a Pixel. I have a Samsung Galaxy, whatever the fuck, 20, whatever. Anyways, one of them shits. And is that perception about the color green again that connects it, because the color green is the green bubble text they have, and the iPhone people always make fun of you if you don't have the green bubble text because that means you don't have their phone.
Oh yeah, it happened to me today.
But it is and it's funny because if you think about it, and it's not even a think about thing, this is a factual thing, is that the technology that Apple uses is actually out of date for texting. It's not secure. Samsung is. It uses two different formats. So
are you talking about the RCS messaging?
That's part of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's what this is running off of.
Right. So actually, and it might just be Europe, but I know Apple's being forced to switch. So they're not going to have that discrepancy anymore. They might still, they'll probably figure out a way to do it. Because why wouldn't they?
Right.
Because it makes sense to keep that going. That perception of, oh, you have an iPhone, you're better than everybody else.
Yeah. Like, I'm such an individual buying what everybody else had.
Exactly. But think about it. It fucking works though.
No, it does. It 100% does.
And again, going back to the green bubble, there we go. Like but like Apple's been doing that for years. They have an inferior product that's marketed as superior and it works. I almost
wonder, and this might just be too coincidental.
Oh God.
This might just be too coincidental. But the color green is the color that the human eye is the most receptive and reactive to.
Sure.
Okay. And I wonder if that's why they picked the color. Because they could have picked any color. Could have. Red, purple, white, whatever. Could have picked anything, but they picked green for some reason. Oh, just a thought.
I don't know. I never really. Interesting.
Yeah.
But so going back into into what we were speaking about, though, like I said before, it's really, really interesting though that marketing tactic again is still used. Like again, even marketing with like you said, debutantes or the not celebrities, but the socialites back then are celebrities now, and how marketing is still using them to push a product to us.
100%. Like, if not worse.
One of my favorite examples of marketing done completely right was Beats. Remember Beats by Dre when they first came out, when they were owned by Monster? So Beats, what they did was they were trying to come out with these headphones. They were trying to make them popular. And if you remember, they were extraordinarily popular for a while.
You couldn't go anywhere and not see them.
Exactly. But how they started, though, you have athletes for free.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wear this while we walk us to the game. Mm-hmm. And they did. And they took off.
Yeah.
It was damn near free marketing because it's your product. You own it. Right. So here, take it.
And we all know it costs you $10 to make it.
Well, back then it was actually a little bit more expensive. Nowadays, that Apple bought it. It's not as good of a product. One of my favorite stories with Beats, and you guys can look this up if you don't already know about it. But what happened was, as I mentioned before, Apple ended up buying them from Monster. Monster has been an audio company for forever. They were known for, audio equipment, cables, what have you. Well, the thing is in order to tell the quality of a headphone or headset, you can tell by the weight. The heavier the headphone, bigger the magnet, better the quality, blah, blah, blah. So because Apple, being Apple, wanted to be cheap about it, because it's Apple, they...
Fuck Apple.
Honestly.
Proceed,
so what they did was they put weights in them to make them feel heavier. And they got caught. And they got sued.
That's fraud. That's fraud. That's stupid fraud, too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But yeah, that was just like, again, the marketing tactic of like, we have these popular people that everybody wants to be like or to look like or replicate. Same thing with Air Jordans. I mean,
right.
You had the best athlete of all basketball history wearing Bernays' own shoes. Everybody wants to know, is it the shoes? The whole Spike Lee commercial,
right?
Shits, yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember.
Is it the shoes? What is it?
God, I want to watch Space Jam now.
Yep. I mean, we can.
That we can. We have the technology.
All right, that's it. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night.
Dude. There's your outro music. Fuck off.
Fuck off. Watch Space Jam.
Of which there's only one.
Indeed.
Oh, man.
So there's only 3 Indiana Joneses.
Damn right. Damn right. There's only one return, and it ain't of the king.
It's of the Jedi. Actually, I do like Lord of the Rings, so I'm not gonna. I'll give them credit.
Yeah, but I just love that. I just love that sentence.
Yeah, it was great.
So much.
Oh man. All right, carry on. I'm sorry. We're over here just on a chain of.
So let's see here. He wrote a book called "Crystallizing Public Opinion," like we referenced earlier. Mm-hmm. And I thought I had the year down. Apparently,
that was 1923.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn I wrote it down. But so in it, Bernays describes how he solved various problems as a public relations counsel, and just some short insights into what this guy was doing. He helped a hotel to defeat a rumor it was closing by publicly renewing the contract of the famous and well-paid Maitre d' Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah. Selling. Oh, well, the big one, the one that some people actually know is selling bacon by asking a physician to conduct a survey amongst 5,000 other physicians.
Yep, I got some more about that one. Good times.
And into what kind of breakfast the average American should eat, and it consisted merely of light versus hearty, which is
right.
Genius.
Oh, it is.
Sometimes the devil's in the details or the lack of them.
Right.
And yeah, well, you said he had more on it, so I'll leave that one. But yeah, he's the reason your breakfast looks the way it does, or why you think of breakfast the way that you do. Resolving a labor shortage in the Kansas wheat harvest by promoting the job through the War Department and the Associated Press to soldiers returning from World War I, appealing to businessmen to hire soldiers in general, which is
what earlier
we were referencing. Let's see here. Promoting Lithuanian national identity by performing a Lithuanian National Council, disseminating information of interest respectively to intellectuals, politicians, sports fans, and other demographically profiled groups. Thus, quote, he reflected to those communes whose crystallized opinion would be helped in guiding other opinions. Facts which gave them the basis for conclusions favorable to Lithuania. That's a quote from the book.
Okay.
Man, I had quotes. I had more quotes.
All right. Well, let me fill in a little bit about
please do.
Yeah, about the bacon thing. Sorry, I'm over here like trying to. We're recording this on a Friday night, and everybody's like, "Oh, what are we doing? What's going on?" No. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to keep up with people, but like, I'm also doing a podcast right now.
We got important work
for our listeners. So going back to what you're referring about the whole breakfast thing, because this is what really kind of kicked off our conversation about doing this topic, and I never really gave too much thought as to why we eat what we eat for breakfast every day. As you know, thought, okay, well, some people eat cereal, some people have like a muffin or some bullshit and it's coffee. You know, people are different at breakfast time. Well, if you look at my fridge, you'll see eggs and bacon and sausage. Like I eat meat and protein for breakfast every day. Absolutely. And maybe some toast if I feel frisky. Hell yeah. Yeah, if I feel frisky. I mean, I put vegetables in my eggs. That's something. Sure. Anyways. Yeah, so but again, like my breakfast real simple, man. Bacon, eggs, some sausage, maybe some toast if I feel like toast, whatever. But I never thought about where that came from. So I just kind of assumed that like that's been the American breakfast. I mean, you always see the commercials, movies. Sure. Every time which drives me fucking nuts. Can't remember what famous person brought it up, but ever since I heard it, can never unhear it. Like, you ever notice that in movies, like they'll make this like big, giant, extravagant breakfast for the family?
Oh, yeah.
And then the husband like grabs a piece of toast, takes a bite, and then walks out the door.
Yeah. You know the one that I think of? Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
And because it's that thing exactly. And Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson come down, and it's just them. Nobody else is around.
Yeah, okay.
Including the people that made the freaking breakfast.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, at least they were like actually eating it.
Right.
But it was still ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one that I always think about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It drives me fucking. I can't remember where I heard that at, but it got pointed out to me once, and I'll never unsee it.
That's like the FedEx arrow.
Yeah.
Somebody fucked me up with that one.
It's like that and the KFC thing where it looks like is his head on like a little stick figure.
Oh god, I forgot about that. Damn it.
You're welcome. Oh man. So anyways, so going back to our American breakfast now, like you mentioned before, there was light breakfast, which mostly consisted of probably like some kind of grain,
oatmeal, some toast, and not orange juice yet. That was
coffee.
That was actually another guy. The orange juice.
I love orange juice so much.
Yeah, well, that was another guy that actually pretty much single handedly saved the citrus industry in America.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
But coffee.
It was usually coffee.
Yeah, stuff like that
was the thing. So this was in the 1920s. The Beech Nut Packing Company was who did this. So they ended up hitting up Edward Bernays. Like, hey, dude, we need to sell more bacon. Can you help us out? That's when they actually already had a doctor in their employ. Bernays had one doctor, right, that was underneath the employ of his public relations team. which I thought was kind of interesting. Like, why do you have a doctor on your team for public relations? But now I see why.
They didn't know either until that day.
It was like, oh, yeah, I knew this was going to happen 20 years ago. It's fine.
We really need a doctor in on this. Wait a minute.
Hey, he just like playing with a stethoscope.
The whole just comes out riddled with dust.
Like, you want me? They've been paying me this whole time. It's fine. It's fine. So like you had mentioned before, they actually had their doctor reach out to 5,000 other doctors to get them to say this is healthy, and then send it back. So they actually had 4,500 doctors write back to them confirming that this is a healthier breakfast because you have more food, means more energy for the day, means you're better off having this heartier breakfast.
Now, was it this breakfast or just heartier in general?
Heartier in general.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure because maybe you read something I didn't. But everything I got was just heartier. They purposely left it vague.
Yo, very much so.
Yeah. Do the heartier version.
Yeah, so doing a heartier breakfast, you have more energy for the day.
Yeah,
which I can confirm is a fucking lie. Because again, I don't do it every day, but I'll make breakfast like out of my 5 days of work, probably 3 days. And yeah, I eat all that, and I'm sitting there like, okay, what am I doing? My job doesn't sound right.
Protein shake is just about my limit in the morning,
dude. And
I have to work that.
Before I injured my back, I work out 3-4 times a week. I haven't been like a month because again, fucking pulled a muscle on my back because being old is stupid. Anyways, but I'll drink a protein shake after the gym, but I'll be hungry like maybe 30 minutes after that.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm naturally not hungry.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry right now.
Me too. But it's nighttime.
Sure.
And so in the morning I'm just not hungry. So like I actually have to like work to drink that protein shake.
Yeah, I wake up, give me about half hour, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Now on the weekends I'll be hungry. But my sleep schedule's all screwed up by then. So
sure.
That's part of it.
I start my job at 8. By like 9 o'clock, I'm eating something.
Yeah.
Like I'm already made something, I'm eating something.
If I got up at that hour, I probably would too. But I get up at 5 and I'm not doing anything extra.
Dude, fuck 5 in the morning. I'm farting and rolling over.
It used to be 4.
Farting the other way.
At the old job.
The other.
I don't know why we're talking so much about my jobs on this episode.
I don't know. It's kind of weird, man.
It is.
I still know what the fuck you do for a living. That's fine.
I feel like I'm losing some of that mystery today, and I don't like it.
It's fine.
Microphone just checked out.
Well, it's DJs. So if that makes any sense. There we go.
The sounds sound like DJ.
The creakingness?
Yeah.
RIP. So yeah, anyways, that's where the bacon and eggs thing were started as a healthy breakfast solution. Which I mean, if you're working out heavy, you're gonna need that protein. Fuck yeah, get after it. But I don't think the normal sedentary American could actually really use that.
No, not at all. It's again.
Or if you have a physical job, sure.
He might be the reason we're so obese as a nation.
Shit, very well could be.
You know, and I mean, it's unfair to put it all on him.
But at least a little bit.
Well, because, I mean, you have to figure, what were they eating in the 1920s versus what are we eating now? If we ordered the same meal.
Well, not the same restaurant.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Oh, man. I don't know if everybody's going to get that joke, but I hope you do.
Aaron's black if you're just joining us. But I get my point.
Anyway, sorry.
I loved it. My point being is 2024, 1924, just for easy numbers. You ordered the same meal in these two restaurants that existed at different times. We both know you're not eating the same thing.
Well, it's also about the food processing itself too, though.
That's what I'm getting at.
So, yeah.
It's not the same. So
I can get a burger and fries back then, just like I could probably get a burger and fries now.
Sure.
Well, maybe. Actually, no, hamburgers weren't even that popular back then either.
Well, yeah. But let's say you could. You're probably getting more of an actual hamburger and fries then. That's more the point I'm making. So can't put all the blame on him.
Sure. That is fair.
Yeah. And so I thought it was interesting. He quoted, what was this guy's name? William Henry Irwin in that book I was referencing earlier on news. And this this is why, like, the food stuff is super interesting, and the way he changed stuff is really interesting. But I really like between Bernays, Freud, and then Milgram.
Okay.
The Milgram stuff that we did. I really like exposing the commonalities between all those things and what it means, because it does leach into other things. He did have a government side to him.
Yeah, totally.
Bernays, and it was fairly benign in our ring versus what it could have been. But again, you know,
if he was around now, they would have weaponized the fuck out of this dude.
Absolutely.
Like,
they have to a degree.
Well,
like,
sure.
They're using what they learned,
definitely,
you know, from him 100%. But I liked what he had to not what he had to say about the news, but we quoted Irwin saying about the news, saying, "We prefer to read about the things we like. Our interest in news increases in direct ratio to our familiarity with its subject, its setting, and its dramatis persona," which I forgot to look that up. I apologize. Our interest in news increases in direct ratio to the general importance of the persons or activities which it affects. And basically what I'm reading there is that all the way back in the teens, 20s, I'm not sure when Irwin said this, there were echo chambers then. There were still echo chambers. And, you know, what does, you know, rewind and listen to what I said again, and what does that remind you of? It reminds you of the news now, social media.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's been this way for a long time. And the reason I like bringing it up is, you know, if you heard it, you can't say that you didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Same with
and it's funny that you mentioned that too, because if you ever look at, I think it was exposed on Facebook a while ago. I can't remember where to go now. I don't even know if it's still a thing on there, but they actually do have Facebook censored to your political tastes. And there was a setting in there where you can actually see what they had you listed as. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, but I remember finding it once. It's been a while, but there is actually a setting, like it says like, oh, where they think you are, and then what news is catered to you.
Oh, okay.
Versus, like, it's not everything. They filter a lot of things out that you might not like. It's just like everything else that you have. Like, your advertisements are filtered to you. Like, our advertisements are going to be different. Like, I get video game news sent to my Facebook, or
100%.
You know, nerd news or whatever, and whatever the hell you do. Freud stuff, apparently.
Dude, my YouTube is going to be so fucked up for the next 3 weeks.
That's why I use a separate one for podcast stuff. I literally have 2 different accounts on my computer for that.
It's going to be so messed up.
Technically, I have 3 because I have my work stuff too. I have a work Google account, my personal one, and then podcast one. Right on. Because I keep those algorithms very different.
I don't blame you one bit. I'm going to be tired of seeing this guy's name in a week.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that I got to do it incognito.
Yeah, true. Can you do that on YouTube?
It still works. Just like I'm talking about incognito on the browser.
Oh, okay.
You can use it for more than just those one videos.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the fact that I have a premium, and I'm automatically assuming it's not going to. It's not going to work if I'm on a browser.
It signs you out. You got to sign back into it, and that kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, I refuse to watch ads. I'll deal with the algorithm.
Fair enough.
I make money.
Yes, capitalism.
I refuse to. Damn it, he got me.
You just don't realize that.
He's been in the grave for 30 years and he got me. The son of a bitch.
That motorboat, some bitch.
Oh man. Oh, here's the rest of my friggin' quotes.
Okay.
It was in the other book. He had a book named Propaganda. And let me get this into portrait mode here. Propaganda, a book written by Edward Bernays in 1928, incorporated the literature from social science and psychological manipulation into an examination of the techniques of public communication. Bernays wrote the book in response to the success of some of his earlier works, such as Crystallizing Public Opinion and A Public Relations Council, 1923 and 1927, respectively. Propaganda explored the psychology behind manipulating masses and the ability to use symbolic action and propaganda to influence politics, affect social change, and lobby for gender and racial equality. Walter Lippmann, who Bernays, I don't want to say that he looked up to him because I'm not sure actually of their age difference, but he cited him very often.
Okay.
Huge fan. Walter Lippmann was Bernays' unacknowledged American mentor.
So yeah, Whitman would have died around when he was born.
Okay.
So there was an age discrepancy there.
Gotcha.
Like he would have looked up to him.
Gotcha.
In that regard, as even age wise. Yeah.
And unacknowledged American mentor, and his work, The Phantom Public, greatly influenced the ideas expressed in Propaganda a year later. The work propelled Bernays into media historians' view of him as the, quote, father of public relations. Again, a term that Bernays coined or helped coin, depending on whose set of events you want to,
Sure.
go with. Because I found every time I found somebody saying that he coined it, somebody else would say that no, somebody else coined it after Bernays and blah blah blah. But anyway,
yeah.
So this is the one.
Okay.
If I read none of these other quotes, this is the one that needs to be heard.
Okay.
And because it's the most poignant for today, and it's a little long, but. The systemic study of mass psychology revealed the potentialities of an invisible government of society by manipulation of the motives which actuate man in the group, established that the group has mental characteristics distinct from those of the individual and is motivated by impulses and emotions which cannot be explained on the basis of what we know to individual psychology. So the question naturally arose, if we understand the mechanism and motives of the group mind, is it not possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without their knowing it? Propaganda, Edward Bernays. And then, down here somewhere, the conscious and intelligent manipulation of organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. What does that sound like? Sounds fairly prescient.
Yeah, especially with it being election year.
Yeah. Sounds fairly prescient. So, like, I guess this is my way of saying there's nothing new under the sun.
No.
To a point, of course.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's true for everything,
pretty much,
really.
Pretty much. And granted, I'm reading that and for everybody that doesn't know me personally, I'm reading that with definitely a certain level of scorn in my voice. And that's just my natural bias talking.
True.
But this is a man that was, to my knowledge, that was writing about these as realizations, not as goals.
Yeah.
That's an important distinction. And because just like Woodrow Wilson thought that he deserved to be the president because he was this brilliant orator, which he wasn't. He did a better impersonation of a scarecrow, but anyway, Bernays thought that he needed to be in the position that he was in because it could be so easily manipulated, and that he was the right man for the job because he would at least do it, unbiasedly. Okay, I guess
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he wanted to be the
moral compass.
Let's go with moral compass.
Yeah, because that's what it's starting to sound like he was in a position to do, because he was the most influential person in the public relations space.
Absolutely.
Of all time. And that's interesting, that last quote.
Oh yeah, and there's a few of them. I grabbed so much from this book, and I really think I'm going to read it, the book at some point.
So there were a few books that he wrote. So that was Crystallizing Public Opinion was the one in 1923. He also wrote one called Propaganda in 1928. Then there was also Public Relations in 1952 and Engineering of Consent in 1955. So we had a couple.
I actually forgot about that last one. I didn't go back to grab anything from that. I forgot about that last one.
Yeah, so there's a lot to read, especially if you if you're interested in his philosophy on the world around him, which is the world around us, that he might be partially responsible for.
Definitely. I just don't think he actually had. I don't actually think he had any selfish goals.
Sure.
Other than to just, do his job and make money, which that's fine. There's nothing selfish about it. We're all doing it. But man, to have a looking glass into a parallel universe.
Yeah.
Where there was a different guy with the same realizations. But also, I mean, the important thing to me, at least, and the reason I wanted to bring it up is hopefully, because there's so much to this guy and everything he did, and then Freud on top of it. I really hope that this causes people to, go home or stay home if you're listening at home.
Sure.
And, pull up the internet, start reading and start seeing how many things that you recognize from the 19-teens, 20s, 30s, 40s that you recognize from the aughts, the teens, and the 2020s.
Yeah.
And everything, because so much of it is similar. It's so much. And then also, because I can't get through a single podcast without this, and because they bring up democracy so much.
You're talking about balkanization again?
No.
Okay.
Although I could. But this right here, this line of logic points to the dangers of democracy and why we're not a democracy.
No.
Our states are, but as a nation, we're not a democracy.
Or Democratic Republic.
Exactly. Well, constitutional republic.
I'm sorry. Yeah, constitutional republic.
And it's important. It's important because shit like this is why 51% of the vote on, and I'm not talking offices. I don't even want to start, but on issues and matters. This is why 51% of the vote shouldn't matter for most things. Well, I guess I can't even say most, but a lot of things where the Bill of Rights and things like that are involved. Where, it's okay, so 51% of the population gets swayed by this guy, which clearly could be a lot more.
It's probably more than that.
Can get swayed by some guy like this. And so 49% of people in this country just have to live with it. Yeah, that's why our document's so important, is this right here. And every time they kind of brought up democracy, I heard the sound of marching boots. I'm not going to lie. Every time I just heard goose stepping in this alternate universe.
Yeah.
Shiny blue helmets.
How's your German?
It's so bad that I'm going to have to fight them.
Fair enough.
but no, in all honesty though, like it's a lens into a big danger that already happened once. I think we got lucky. I think we got lucky, especially existing in the time of Wilson and everything else, and how much stranger that could have gone. But it's something that happened. It's something that can happen again, or a person that can quote unquote exist again. And those things matter. So when you're watching, I guess what I'm saying is when you're watching your news, when you're reading your article, recognize that all these people are owned by the same son of a bitch, first and foremost, and do your own research, but also don't rely on, I read a study.
Yeah.
You gotta do a little bit.
You go deeper than that.
You gotta do a little bit more also, but yeah, it's just, it's wild if you'll go and check this guy out. And again, just like we saw with Milgram, how malleable we are. But once you find out about it, hopefully you're not so malleable anymore because you're awake to it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's the problem that they mentioned before with the 51% of people. And I hate to say it, but a lot of people are just ignorant to the world around them.
Absolutely.
And they don't give a shit about it either.
Absolutely.
Because we have the simple things. We have, what was it? Which Roman emperor was the one was like give them bread and entertainment?
It wasn't Nero, was it?
It might have been.
He was the fiddle one.
He was the fiddle one. Yeah.
But that wasn't even real.
He also, we have the fiddle thing and then the sister thing. The sister thing I'm pretty sure was real, though.
I'm pretty sure the sister thing probably happened with more than one emperor.
You're probably right. Anywho, Ancient Rome. Stay tuned for that episode.
That would be a good one.
Oh, dude, there's so much with that. That's like we have to do a series.
Yeah, definitely not my strong suit. But that would be a good one.
I know a lot.
That's an 8-parter.
But yeah, like I would say 3. Like beginning, like so, like the Punic War era, then like the height of Rome, and then the fall. We did like 3 different parts. Would be the easiest way, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Yeah,
because you got them taking over the Greeks or for the Greeks,
right? And
then Punic Wars, both of them.
Yeah,
and then yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother episode we probably have to get to one of these days. That'll be fun. But anyways, it was the long and short of it was keep the people entertained and they will never rebel.
Absolutely.
And
okay, well, again, the opium of the masses.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Far more recent quote. And everything, religion is the opium of the masses, and it's at the time it was true, but it's not even a dig on religion or entertainment or anything. It's just opium. It's every generation has that metaphorical, or not generation, era has that metaphorical opium that they were speaking of. And I mean, for us, perhaps it's social media and arguing.
Sure. Which is dude, I don't even bother with arguing people on the internet anymore.
Oh, I know.
I don't have time.
No, God, no. But again, that was another thing that Bernays outlined was the division at the time. And mind you, in the teens and the 20s, did you ever watch Boardwalk Empire?
No.
Or Peaky Blinders?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll go with Peaky Blinders. Because it's such a fascinating period because there are so many groups, so many factions at the time. And I mean, not to take away from the things that have happened in the last few years, but I mean, like real violence, throughout all of these countries, just pretty much down the political fault lines rather than the social, I would say more the political fault lines.
Well, if you're referring to the era right after World War I, everybody was smashed together anyways. Like we had, everybody was right next door to somebody they probably didn't want to be next to.
Oh yeah, but well, that's what I mean. It's not just here.
I'm talking about everywhere.
So you had the communists, the fascists, the anti-communists that are nothing. The Catholic, blah 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 blah. And so he references division in the divide and conquer sense all the way back then, as far as political strategy goes and everything. So it's again like we're not talking about anything that they didn't talk about 100 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually just in reference to what we were talking about earlier, the quote that I was referring to was, I couldn't remember it completely. Give them bread and circus, they will never revolt, was actually said by Juvenal, which was a poet.
Oh, okay.
Not a emperor. I don't know why I thought it was an emperor that said that shit.
I don't know.
They probably knew that and just didn't want to say it out loud.
Right.
And he's like, hey, you guys know what they're doing, right? But yeah, it's I mean, we can dive into that for hours on end about how we're getting fucked.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
And how many ways we're getting fucked.
And I'm not even so much worried about that as much as just like how much has changed in 100 years versus how little. Like,
sure. There's a dichotomy there to be had.
Yeah. Cause in these books, the same things are being talked about. It's just the players and the settings have changed.
Yep.
And the gripes a little bit.
Sure.
Or at least the nature of them. And yeah, they're worried about the same stuff we were before the Depression.
Yep.
And but yeah, I mean, moral of the story here, and the reason I brought him up is, just realize there's a puppeteer. Realize there's a puppeteer. Sometime, and hell, we could do this too. Actually, I don't even think he'd be that interesting, but sometime look up William Randolph Hearst. He's right there in that same echelon.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, because I think he came along a little later. Well, his empire definitely did.
Yeah.
But, look up William Randolph Hearst, and I guarantee you that guy was making money on the back of this guy, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure, I get it.
But we've lost the ability to be a knowledgeable consumer. And I agree with that. Tied back to this. And again, when we think of consumerism, we think, or just being a consumer, we think we think of cash registers, just hearing cash registers. That's consumerism. No, it's
everything.
It's the things you buy, the things you eat, sure, but it's still your news, your car, your political affiliation, your lack of political affiliation. It's all these things. It's all the things that are coming together to make you like the shitty, maladjusted Megazord that we are.
Damn.
Yeah, I really wanted to wedge that one in.
I mean, we are millennials.
And
we have the Power Rangers. I get it.
I believe in Zennial.
I like Voltron.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I identify as 5 lions. Roar.
It's pretty tight, man. Remember the one with the cars?
Oh man, I still need to watch that new one.
Oh, the one on Netflix?
Yeah,
it's fucking amazing.
Oh, I know. I got through like a few episodes and then just kind of forgot. I didn't go back.
Yeah, go back to that.
I'm real bad with streaming.
Yeah, go revisit that. That was good stuff.
But yeah, let me see. Did you have another?
No, man. I'm here ready for closing thoughts, dude. We're a little past an hour.
So, let's see, because there was one more item if I can find it. Of course, I might have axed it honestly because I axed a lot of quotes when I realized how.
Yeah, you don't want to spend the whole podcast reading to people.
No,
they're not here for an audiobook.
No, God, no. Especially one from me. Which actually, if you have Spotify Premium, I did find out that propaganda book you can listen to it on there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like 7 hours.
That's not terrible, I suppose.
No.
But see, I'm more of a physical book person, as you can tell by all the books that are in this room. I prefer to read my...
No, if I buy a digital book, I buy the physical copy too.
Okay.
I'll use the digital one for convenience, but I'll be damned if I don't own something.
Yeah, I prefer to own the books.
Yeah.
They're heavy. They're a pain in the ass to move, but I just like looking at them.
Right.
You know? That and the eye strain. And it's a whole thing. You know, like the smell of them.
Yeah. No. Well, and also there's a certain level of pride when the spine starts to,
Oh, yeah, where it starts to get that give.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's been used.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
why I just sit on my book, so I just have the air of intelligence.
All right, then. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No. I think the quote I'm thinking of is actually probably one I already said.
Fair enough. Well, as always, we appreciate y'all listening to the Required Taste podcast. Sorry again about the delay that we had with these episodes. We're going to be working hard next week to make sure that we are ahead of time, so you won't be missing anything here in the future. As always, please give us a like and follow on your favorite social medias. Give us a like and follow on whatever platform listening to us, and share us with your friends. We're fun at parties.
And please donate for DJ at St. Jude's Hospital.
I don't know what the hell happened to him, man. That boy is just needs some milk. Anywho, thank you again for listening to us. Thanks, Ben, for coming on to make sure that we at least didn't miss another episode. Because we're about to be behind again if we didn't. So appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. Y'all be cool.